do you want to give me a high level overview of your life, like story? Like, where were you born?
No.
Where were you born?
I was born in San Francisco, California.
Okay, what were your parents like?
What were they like?
Yeah,
They were wonderful.
tell me about Grandma O.
Grandma O was a story in herself. She was special. You know, you meet people and you form opinions. She was special from day one right on through. So
What was her personality? I've heard the stories, but what was her personality like?
very outgoing, very responsive, and very nice. Wonderful lady.
What was her saying? Over heaven.
Oh, for heaven's sake.
That's all I've heard.
Right.
I don't remember.
That was a favorite line.
Why did she say that?
Whenever she heard something surprising, it would be, oh, for heaven's sake.
That's really cool. That's fine. And what was your dad like, Grandpa?
Very serious, very good, and I respected him an immense amount.
Do you have a first memory with them that you can think of?
Running across the playground at Kennedy Silver Grade School. From him, not to him.
What'd you do?
I get into trouble for something, and then I added back talking to it, and that was belt time. So I went out and bought a ring, like most young men do, and I decided, well, most of my activity was always when I was driving somewhere or doing something, because I could think better then. So we were driving somewhere to go on a date to meet somebody, and at the corner of Kenwood and Montgomery, I was turning the corner, and I said, we were talking about the future, and I said, you know, I really do love you, and I want to marry you, and will you marry me? She said, what? And I said, yeah. And I pulled the ring out right there in the car, and she didn't expect it at that point, going around a corner, so she, of course, said yes, and that's the start of that story.
You were to give one sentence for each kid when they were young. Like Laura was not a problem.
Well, I had names for them.
Okay.
Like Laura was Wawa Pretty Face, because that's who she was. She was a beautiful young lady, whether she was 6 or 16. Marty was trouble, no matter where he was trouble, because he was always testing the boundaries of what he could get away with. So that was a problem. And then each one had a different name.
Keep going, Brian? What was Brian?
Brian was number 12, because he always, whenever he played baseball or any sports, he asked for number 12. He was number so. And a lot of the names came from a neighbor we had across the street in Sharonville, who was single. He was not single. He was married, but his kids were all gone. And he would sit on his front porch, and he was a very outspoken guy. He was the sales manager for, I can't remember the name of the company, but one of the biscuit companies. So he would always bring cookies, always bringing cookies. And the kids loved him for those cookies.
What was Lisa's nickname? Do you remember?
Let me think. Lisa Bargisa. That was her name.
Wait,
Lisa
why?
Lisa Bargisa. And Bob and I think gave her that one together. Keith was trouble, always trouble.
Number 2, treble 2.
Trouble. And let's see, Brian, number 12. Who else am I missing here?
Lynn, but she was later, right? Did she have one, Lynn?
Lynn was special. That's who he called her, special. And she was the caboose. That's who we called her, the caboose.
What about Jeff?
Oh, Jeff was trouble. Jeff was always in trouble for something.
All the boys are troubles.
Always into something for trouble.
But it sounds like one of the themes that you've had come up over and over is persistence. I feel like you are like one of the most persistent, stable,
Focused. I am focused. I know what I want. I know how to get it. And I know what to do to get it. And I know what I need to do personally to make sure it happens. So I love encouraging people. I love building people. And I love making successes out of people. And to me, that's valuable.
That's really neat.
Yep.
No, I mean, it's like, what, 6, 7 kids later and 18, 19 grandkids later? That's a
Yeah,
big
but you learn every time different lessons with each one. They're different. In the same way that you're different than your brothers and sisters, and you learn things that you need to know about people, and then you need to know how to do it. And I also think another thing that's really important, you need to learn respect. Like in the military, I learned respect, and I learned to make sure things were done right, completely, and I learned that when I got done with it, somebody would usually praise me for it, and that was valuable to me. I knew that.